it's okay if you fail. It's okay. Like your life is so long. And when you're young, you feel like what's happening in that moment is like so important and so immediate. And like if it doesn't come together, like, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? I mean, I just turned 50 and there's a whole slew of things I've got planned over the next decade. And I've done so much in the last 25 years that time is limited, but it's also, there's lots of it. So you've got room to make mistakes.
Hello, amazing humans, and welcome to episode number 282 of the Game On Girlfriend podcast. Now, have you ever wondered how people really do get successful? I know that sounds like the cover of a book somewhere, but really, how do people do this? Like, what actually happens? We all know that, like, Google started in a garage with two guys and, like, a fold out card table. Like, you know that, but then, like, what happens? Like, how does this actually happen? You are a human being. You probably want to be successful. Sometimes we look out there in the world and we're like, what on planet Earth is happening? How does this happen to people? What makes the difference? In today's episode, we start to really uncover what that difference is. Why do some people continue to be successful and others don't? Now, in this episode with my amazing guest, Kate McGuire, you're going to learn a little bit about her journey. And she talks about those moments in life that you think are like the success moments. You know, the ones where you're like, that's it, I've made it. And for her, it was her first $100,000 month. And she said, you know, it's just this number and just this thing. So wait a minute, what do you do with milestones like that? How do you continue to progress? Why do you progress? When is enough enough? How do you keep going? What are the steps you're supposed to take first? If these are the kinds of questions that, I don't know about you, they've kept me up at night before. If these are the types of questions that are keeping you up at night as well, you are going to love this episode. It really is two humans sitting down over coffee and talking about life's journeys and what actually makes the difference when it comes to business success. Kate McGuire is a dynamic entrepreneur, devoted mother, and a passionate advocate for health and personal growth. Launching her first business in her 20s, she spent over 20 years building a thriving enterprise while balancing the challenges of motherhood and marriage. Kate's journey is fueled by her desire for independence, which shapes her strategic approach to business and life. She's a fierce advocate for alternative health solutions, and she empowers women to take charge of their well-being and pursue financial independence. Just after understanding a little bit more about her, I bet you're starting to see why I had her on the podcast for this episode. Your independence matters to me greatly. Your ability to do whatever you want to do next matters greatly. And in order to do that, you want to, need to, get to understand the steps that cause success. So pop in those earphones and let's get to it. Kate, welcome to the Game On Girlfriend podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Okay. All right. We are doing all sorts of health things today. I die because this is my favorite. I love when we can get our entrepreneurs healthy and happy and doing the things. But before we jump into all of the gooey goodness, I just have to ask you, Kate, dude, you are really accomplished. Like, I've read your bio. I know all the things you do and you could have done.
Oh,
Why? Out of all the things that you could have done, is this what you do?
Well, my why is because I was a kid in my 20s wondering what the heck should I do? Yeah, I mean, some people just know they're going to be a teacher and know they're going to be a police officer and that's their path. I was, that kid just had no idea. And I worked all the jobs, did all the things, I even sold photocopiers.
Did you really?
Yeah, that's how bad it got.
Wow, photocopy, dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And, I was in my mid 20s and I think I was going through what anybody could possibly be going through that age, which is trying to find out what you should be doing with your life, trying to put your life together. And I actually started to suffer like a little bit of anxiety and stress. And so I went to my doctor about it, and she's a fantastic doctor. But, the only options really for what I was feeling that time was a prescription medication, right? To go on either anti-anxiety or an antidepressant. And I just thought at the time, there's got to be another way because I don't believe that this is the path for me. And long story short, I went to see a naturopathic doctor and it was really just life-changing. Like the experience was so profound and positive that, within a very short time, I was on a totally different path. I was exposed to the importance of my health and the choices I had to make to actually get get your head straight, get your head right, right? And
Yes.
I didn't need
Yes.
pharmaceuticals. And I was really struck with how easy it was to go down that path. I'm not yay or nay, but just that if I'd only stuck with that one answer, I could have been in a completely different place. And so it just dawned on me after having such a positive experience that I wanted to get this information out to the world. I felt the world needed to know that there are other options and that you have to be the biggest advocate for your health. You can't take that first answer and it's not easy. Like it is not easy to look after yourself. It does mean researching. It does mean talking to people. It does mean shutting out the circle of family and friends that have their opinions about the way
Mm.
you should be managed. And so really that's your fight, is to get the information you need to put your health first and foremost. And yes, being healthy, eating right, looking after your body, it's work and it's very, very hard. And I learned that at that young age. And I just had my idea. Like that was it. I just knew that I was so passionate about health and health products that I had to work in the industry somehow or some way. I wasn't interested in going back to school to become a naturopathic doctor. I knew that I was business bound. I knew that
Mm.
I wanted to be independent. I had watched my father as an independent or as an entrepreneur. He was an immigrant from Northern Ireland and came to Canada and had no money and no education and only educated to the age of 12. And I was always inspired and amazed by his life, what he was able to do here in Canada
Mm.
and the independence he had. So I was driven by independence and I was driven by wanting to represent something I loved
Mhm.
and driven by wanting to see what I could do. What was I actually capable of? And that's how it all began. There
Wow.
you go.
So hold on a second. Wait, you got to
Yeah.
back that truck right up just a minute here. So that is, I mean, one, that's a really great story. And you're so lucky too, Kate, because not everybody has this, but parent that kind of role
Mhm,
modeled what's
mhm,
possible through
mhm,
entrepreneurship.
mhm, mhm. I think we're driven to safety, right? And so we're also in a society that is very academically based, right? Your marks reflect who you are,
Yeah.
how you do in school reflects how you are. This is how you're judged from this young age up to whenever you head out in the world. And it's really hard to get people off that track because it's like, get educated, get a good job. And often, yeah, I mean, everyone can't be entrepreneurs. We need great workers. We need intrapreneurs. We need people in our businesses and we need people that are excited to be a part of that growth as well. But we're drawn to safety. And so,
Mm.
getting that job and getting that degree or getting your diploma or whatever it is, it's safety driven. And to take the step out to try and do something new or different is out of that safety zone. And, it does require you having some guts and having some faith in
Mhm.
yourself. And also, it's okay if you fail. It's okay. Like your life is so long. And when you're young, you feel like what's happening in that moment is like so important and so immediate. And like if it doesn't come together, like, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? I mean, I just turned 50 and there's a whole slew of things I've got planned over the next decade. And I've done so much in the last 25 years that time is limited, but it's also, there's lots of it. So you've got room to make mistakes. So yeah, I think people just need to get out of that safety zone. Although some people, it's a really uncomfortable place for them to be out of the safety zone.
Well, we're
So
not wired for it. That's for sure. We are
yeah.
not wired to chase something that doesn't feel safe. It's,
Mhm.
something
But
I've
we're
really,
exhilarated when it happens,
absolutely.
right?
Well, I think we have this human need, right? Where we
Yeah.
really like predictability, but we really like surprise. And
Yeah.
so it's like this constant battle. But I think when it comes to business or making money, I mean, this is something I think I've seen in my business a lot, as well as I really work with women to heal their relationship with money, is you have to believe it's safe to have a lot of money or
Mm.
you're not going to make a lot, right? It's like if
Oh,
it's scary or
100%.
there's no way, right? But safety first. And I think it's the same with love. And I
Mhm.
think it's the same with health. Like you can't fall romantically in love with someone if you don't feel safe with them,
Mhm.
right? Parent to
Mhm.
child, even if it's not safe, that gets kind of broken down. And I
Mhm.
think it happens in business as well. If we don't feel safe, right,
Mhm.
it's really hard to, how do you show up in your business as your best self, get excited about marketing, do all the things, believe in yourself if you don't feel safe?
Well, and yeah, and that's the thing that all business owners go through too, is they get to a certain level and then they pull back
Mhm.
because they've worked so hard to get there. They maybe, reach that point where there's steady sales, income levels, things coming in where they're like, oh, wow, like
I
all
did
that
it.
pushing. I did it. I'm here. Okay, keep it in the bank. don't do anything else. Like, don't make any mistakes. Don't take any
Don't
more
move, don't
chances,
breathe.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I know like I've felt that way 100%. And I have made mistakes. Like I have taken further
Mm.
steps to grow and it's been a disaster. Like it has not been all pretty at all. And it hurts the most because usually what you learn, the biggest lessons is when you lose money. And
Mm.
so that has happened and it doesn't feel good.
Mm.
And but you learn like people
Mm.
you think you can trust. I mean, the stories I have, honestly, like you guys have Shark Tank, right?
Yeah.
So we in Canada, we have something called Dragon's Den. Believe it or not, I got involved with a dragon who completely hustled me. A dragon. Yeah.
Oh,
From
I'm
like a similar
sorry.
situation as Shark Tank. Yeah. But you
Yeah.
would think like at that level. I mean, my mom had a saying that often they're fur coats and no knickers.
I
So
love
be
that.
careful out there.
Yeah. Well, I think there's also, I mean, one of the things I really can't wait to get your thoughts on this because one of the things I've really come to understand, given recent world events, what's happening on planet Earth, all the things, is it's really important to be healthy as an entrepreneur to know what your enough is. What
Mm.
is that for you? Is it the 10
Oh,
million? Is it 1 million? Like, where is it
yeah.
enough? Because if we don't have that, holy cow, are we wired to buy into this belief that there's not enough and more is better? And it's like, oh, that's a recipe for stress. That's a recipe for
Oh, yeah.
burnout. That's a recipe for greed. That's a recipe for exhaustion. Like,
Mhm.
what is your enough? And
Oh
how do
my
you
gosh.
know? You know?
Sarah, I can't believe you're like, oh wow, like that you're asking me this question because I am gonna be honest here. Like I have been that person that it has never been enough, always striving for more,
Hmm.
feeling badly about myself. Like
Hmm.
that's good. Like that's okay. But it's like you get to a certain point, you do something, you enjoy that achievement for like the one split second, and then you're like moving on
It's
to the
fixed.
next.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had to get help with that. Like I mean, I think I've overcome that a little bit now that I'm older and I have some maturity on my side. But no, I'll be honest, like I've been really bad at that. Like it has
Hmm.
never been enough. It's never been good enough because there's always someone to compare yourself to. There's always someone and there is that number, right? Like when I got to my first month of $100,000 in sales, I was like, wow, yay, look at this $100,000 in sales. Like it wasn't even sort of a goal I'd set myself. It was just like if I get there. And a lot of times you'll hear from entrepreneurs about always setting goals. I was never setting goals. I was always just like, I'm just going and seeing what happens. Like, let's get where we need to go. And then every time I saw a number hit, I was like, this is awesome. And it was never about like, what could I get for reaching those numbers? It was just the number itself was
Hmm.
always so exciting, right? Yeah. I mean, also getting around, sometimes entrepreneurs are encouraged to get around other entrepreneurs who are doing much bigger and better things than them. And I think you need to tread lightly with that, depending on your personality. Because for me, that was actually a little bit detrimental. I started striving for things that were not impossible at all, but just there's other things in your life. If you're a woman, you might be spending more of your time with your family, or you have young kids, or you have all these sort of other things. So it's like, how is your time divided, right? Some people can go all in and they are entrepreneur, CEO, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And for me, I wasn't that way. Like once I had my family became my first business. Like my business was my business, but my family was the most important business. And so, where I could have been, I often say to my husband, I could have been way richer if it wasn't for you. You've taken up all my time, and these children. So,
Yeah.
I think it's about your priorities, and
Mm.
it's inspiring to be around people who are doing so much more, but it is that saying comparison can be the thief of all joy.
Yes. Yeah.
So, you really have to be careful. It's great to learn and get mentors and all that type of thing, but you can like that burnout piece is so huge. I've been there many times myself and it's not nice and it takes time to rebuild, right? So, yes, learn, be open, always know that you don't know everything. That is for sure. But also take it with a grain of salt because sometimes you can get people coming along who really encouraging you to do more than maybe you really are ready to do. You might have other things in your life. I have a dad right now who's not well and I really got to be around for that, right? So
Mhm.
that would impact my decision on different projects I'm going to take on.
Right.
So, yeah, so it's like mixing in, like, I want to be this and I want to have that and I want to go here and I'm not good enough. And if I achieve that, I think, the hamster wheel can happen
Oh, so
big
fast.
time.
So fast.
Yeah.
It's so
So
funny.
fast.
It's reminding me of what you even said about antidepressants. Like, boy, is that an easy path to go down. It's right
Yes.
there for all of us to be like, well, that's not enough though. But what's next? But what's next? But what's next? And then that leads people to do even what, Mr. Dragon Man did to you. It's like, when is it enough? When are
It's
you
never enough.
not going to need to swindle? When are you not? Right. And I
No,
think that this is a paradigm shift
it
that
is.
I certainly am trying to deliver to entrepreneurs, anybody in business right now, is know you're enough.
Mhm.
Because anyone, I think it was Jim Carrey, right, who said, I wish everybody became wealthy and famous so they could see that's not the answer.
Mhm.
That really working internally to be whole and complete, which sounds like, oh my God, it sounds like I'm
I know.
marrying somebody or something. But it's like, how can you arrive at your business
Mhm.
already fully yourself,
Mhm.
so that what you're creating through the business is simply an extension of creativity and an extension of joy, and that will
Mhm.
obviously bring money. It always does,
Mhm.
but that's not where the happiness is.
Something I was told over the last couple of years that really resonated with me was we've all been born worthy.
Mm,
So the day you were born, you were worthy. But for some reason we spend whatever happens to us in our childhoods and things we learn, we spend the rest of our lives, some of us to different extents, trying to either prove ourselves to ourselves, prove ourselves to others, prove ourselves, like whatever that might be. And if you can realize early that you are worthy, regardless of whatever level you're at, you were born worthy. Like you
yes,
just are. Like as you are is good enough
I
because you're
love
born
that.
that way.
That's right.
And so if that can really get in at an early stage, I think it's really beneficial. I only learned that the last couple of years, and I feel like if that
Mm,
had really been ingrained much earlier,
yeah,
I could have avoided some of the stress and the burnout and the side effects of all of that, which
yeah.
cannot be great, not good for you. And I'm in the health industry and I'm always preaching all this stuff. And then
Yeah.
sometimes we'll be like, what are you taking? And what is it? I'm like, you know what? I'm a disaster right now. Like I've fallen off my routine. Like I'm human too. And I need to
Yes.
get myself back sorted out here. I got to go back to the three basics: the rest, nutrition, and movement, in their
Mm,
simplest forms, right?
mm,
Making sure you get proper sleep. And even if it means you need to sleep in the day to get that extra time in, do it. Eat your whole foods. Do not eat the junk. Just nourish yourself and then movement. It means maybe just a walk outside, just
mhm.
those basics to build yourself up again. And then don't go do what got you there in the first place,
I
which
think
I
that's
did a million times.
right. I was gonna say, well, there's the hard part, right? It's like, okay, so I'm
Mhm.
feeling great. I'm doing. It's like it's so funny. We're so weird as humans, right? Once we feel great, we could go back to what had us not feel
That's
great.
it.
So we're so funny. But I just have to take a second because I love what you just said about being worthy. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do a Sarah Walton moment here. I have this picture. You're gonna laugh.
Okay.
I have this picture of me. Can you see little
Oh.
Sarah? I don't know. Let's see if
Yeah.
I can get it to
Yes.
focus.
Oh, there
Little
you
Sarah.
are.
Yeah, look at that,
Oh,
right? I
cute.
have this here on my desk at all times. Every time I feel like, okay, is this going to work? Okay, we're doing a
Yeah.
big stretch, like whatever those are. It's like, would I ever turn to that child and say,
Mhm.
you can't do this, right?
Mhm.
Never,
Mhm. Mhm.
never, never. And it
Mhm.
reminds me, and I always encourage other people to do this as well, is have that picture around because you would never
Mhm.
tell a child they can't do it.
Yeah, but you know what?
I
You
love that.
doing that and
Yeah,
saying that makes perfect sense, but there are kids that were told,
that's exactly
"You
right.
can't do that, and you're not capable," and that is, like, the hardest work as a human being is to go back and, like, try to remember who that child of, like, wonderment and thoughts and innocence was all about
Yes.
before the world got at her or him.
That's exactly right. And it's so
Yeah.
much healing work. And I think,
Mhm.
this is why I love entrepreneurship so much. This is yet another reason is because I think we have to do that healing work.
Mhm.
Because even if that child heard that, which she did, by the way,
Mhm. Mhm.
that doesn't mean that I, as the adult, can't course correct that. And I think the more that we
100%.
work on things like that, again, coming to the business, working on healing, working on resting. I love that that's your first one, by the way, not the
Huge.
last one, the first one, right? It's just so important for us
Huge.
to
Mhm.
recognize we can't play at the highest levels if we have, you're not worthy in the back of our head. If we have, you know, this isn't going to work, right?
Mhm.
All of those things, the weight that that puts on us and adds to so much stress. It's
Yeah.
really hard for us to be successful in the face of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just
Yeah.
keep doing more when we've probably done enough, right? And
Yes. Yes.
and another thing I picked up was this gal I knew had a little sticky note,
Mhm.
and she had it at the top of the door, like where you couldn't reach, and it said perfection.
Oh,
And then they had a sticky note by the door handle which said enough, right? That like just those things help and make
genius.
so much more sense. Like, because it's not reachable. It's just not. It's ridiculous.
No.
But sometimes just where your hand can go at the door is just enough,
Yes.
you
And
know?
that's the next step, right? It's that,
Mhm,
what is that famous quote about how do you go 8,000 miles or whatever? It's like with the first step. Like that's, you can't get
mhm,
to the end. Like that's not a thing. You got to take each one and each one matters.
mhm.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. So let's go back for a hot second. Let's go back to when
Okay.
it's tough. Let's be honest
Yeah.
here, right? Yeah.
Oh, I will be
So
honest.
I know, I love it. I love all parts of it. So we do this like, okay, you're like, all right, I want to see what else is out there. I want to go for help. Let's talk about your first steps. You're doing the
Mhm.
business, you get started. What did you do first? Like, how did you end
Yeah.
up going
Mhm.
down this path?
Yeah. So it really was just sort of one of these things where I told you I had this positive experience in natural health. And so, and I had been, and maybe other people out there are doing this too, where you're like, what should I do with my life? What should I do with my life?
Of course.
Right.
Please.
And I think again, I'd heard this somewhere, or maybe I came to it myself, was sit down and literally write down, what are you good at? And what do you like to do?
Mm,
And for someone, I was just having this conversation actually off before our meeting started about academics. And so we know academics are very smart and they know what they're going to study and they know that they can take on really complex material, right? And I was not an academic. Like I was when I wrote down what I was good at, I thought like, what is that? Right? I'm good at talking to people. Like what is that? Right? Like I can't do scientific,
mm,
calculations or anything, but I can talk to people. And then it started to dawn on me, well, you know what? That is my skill. I can talk to people. And what do I love? Well, I loved health. I was really into
mm.
yoga. Like it was that simple. What brought me kind of regular everyday joy? Yoga. I went to yoga. I like to eat like my healthy meals. That's just who I was at the time. And I thought, okay, these two things got to come together because they're what I like to do. I like to talk to people and I like yoga and I like healthy things and I like talking about it. I've got to find work that involves this. It was that
So
simple.
good. Okay.
And so, people just think that way. Like you don't have
Mm,
to be an astrophysicist, right? Like you
I
just,
love that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And so I just thought about that. And then it just made sense. I thought, okay, the natural health industry, I've got to work in the natural health industry. I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm not going back to school, nothing like that. But, there's sales reps in pharmaceuticals. I wonder if there's sales reps in natural health products, and
I
made
love that.
connections with some people. And there was a company that was launching a new omega-3 fish oil. I really believed in omega-3 essential fatty acids. I knew what they did for the brain. I knew all the research that was coming out. I was really fascinated by it. So bingo, I really believed in it. And I connected with this company and they were, in their infancy and they were getting started. And I just said, I'm your girl, like hire me. I went on straight
Mm,
commission. Like that's it. Right. Like, so,
interesting.
and I had a good job at the
Mm,
time. Like I was in the safe job being, paid X amount a year with the benefits and I was all safe. And I came from a family that was not safe. Like my dad was an entrepreneur and we didn't have benefits and going to the dentist was a big deal that we had to pay for it. And, so I lived that life that, things were wonderful. My dad provided a wonderful upbringing and a wonderful home, but like, I knew that things cost money, right? And I knew that my dad had to make money to make that happen. So, I think just that's why I was able to take that step on the commission
yeah.
because I thought, I'm going to see what I'm made of. Like, can I get out there and do this? Can I go and, promote this fish oil? And so, I it was wonderful. The company kind of gave me like a whole territory to try and develop. And this was before anything had happened. And I had the province of Ontario. And I, back in the day before we had access at our fingertips, I think I got the yellow pages out and found out where all the stores were. And I was telling the kids the other day, I used to have physical maps where I would travel to a city and then I would look at the actual scale at the bottom of the map and try and figure out how far one store was from the next. And if I
Oh
had
my
30
God.
minutes at that store and then the scale, and that's like 5 kilometers that way. That's going to take me this amount of time to drive. So I plan out my whole route. And, it was old fashioned, get on the phone, introduce myself. Can I get, and I mean, most of it was no, no, I don't want to see you. No, don't come over. Like, no, 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 no. But I always thought there's going to be a yes. There's going to be a yes
Wow.
eventually.
Where did you get that there's going to be a yes eventually from? Like, I'm still teaching that, right? Like,
Yeah.
people still are like,
Mhm.
nah, it's never
Yes.
gonna. Where did that come
Maybe,
from
I don't
you?
know, maybe I just had, like, an ability to take rejection well. I think because my product, like, I really believed in my product, and I really believed in my message, and I really believed in
Mm,
what I was doing, and so nobody was going to stop that, and I mean, I had everyone around me telling me, like, people were mean, like, "Oh, you're selling, like, weird alternative medicine," which alternative medicine was the medicine of thousands of years until we've had modern medicine in the last 50 years, right?
mhm.
So thank God for wonderful modern medicine, but the history of all these products and all these plants and all these naturally occurring things on our God-given earth are here. I mean, I just felt like this is a message I can convey and I'm happy to do it. And so, I just like I said, it was looking up the stores, knocking on the doors and I also had to survive. Like I did have to make a living and I had, I bought a condo and it was coming up to closing soon. I knew I was going to have mortgage payments, so I had little fire under my butt as well. Like I had to survive. And
Yeah.
so, I had no money at the beginning to pay for my car or anything like that. So I did so much of it over the phone and on the subway system. I remember calling someone and doing such a good pitch over the phone. I said, like, and I can send you a case tomorrow. And they, and it's like, she's like, okay, yeah, send me 2 cases. And I was like, great. Right.
Amazing. Like,
So,
now I can drive to the next one.
yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing.
I got
Wow.
some money for gas. People wonder if there's like a magic formula. Like mine wasn't. Mine was handshake by handshake, brick by brick,
Mm.
door by door, you know, so many no's till I got a yes. And then I started to get momentum. And once you get momentum, you're off, right? And
Yeah.
it's exciting
Yeah.
because but you got to put the work in. And there's no magic answer. It's just work and belief in yourself. And that at least that's what it was for me.
I love the truth in that. I love the truth in that. I mean, one of my favorite books is The Slight Edge. I don't know if you've ever read it.
No, I have
Oh, it's
not.
so good. And it sounds like it's
Okay.
like a bro book, but it's really not. It sounds like very like, I'm Mr. Man, I will teach you marketing, right? It's not that, but it's more the idea that nothing is accomplished except for brick by brick.
Yeah.
Nothing is accomplished except for the push here, the push there, the push here,
Mhm.
the push here.
Mhm.
And that, the only thing that we all have in common is time. And
That's right.
the the steps that actually move us forward are quite unsexy. They're not
Well, and
Instagram worthy steps. You know what I mean? They're
no,
like, I'm going to get on the phone and hide in the subway and sell this thing. That's
yeah,
not sexy, but it's what
no.
actually does make the difference. Yeah.
And it always really upsets me when I hear so much hate for really successful business owners
Mm,
because people don't understand that it all started somewhere. It
yes.
all started somewhere. And even if the person that is later leading it, that is the right of the original person that started it to take that business to whatever level they wanted to and input and place in people that they want to run that business. And if they want their children in it, like it all started by one person usually or a partnership or something. But
Mhm.
someone who decided to take a risk, put themselves on the line financially usually as well, and I just hate when I hear a hate on for successful business owners because it's so unfounded. It's so misguided, you
Well,
know?
you know what I always say? People who
Okay.
critique, people who
Yeah.
critique are always behind the person they're critiquing on the
Yeah.
path. I mean,
Mhm.
anyone who's gone ahead, we only have time to critique other people because you're busy doing your thing. And
Mhm.
so it's always telling because I do so much work with money. And I always hate to
Mhm.
say this to people, but I'm like, you're broke, right? And they're like, I know that because unless you were making money, that wouldn't even occur for you to be upset about that. And
Right.
and I don't mean it as a dig at all. But
Mhm.
it's so important for us to recognize what we're complaining about or where we're
Mhm.
seeing things that it's like, oh, it's because I'm not there yet, or I don't understand what's happening here in a way that makes sense to me. I
Mhm.
wonder what experiences I'm missing. We don't
Mhm.
do that. We just complain and say that that's bad.
Complain and blame.
That's right. And so I'm really careful. Like when women come to me and they're just starting businesses, I'm like,
Mhm.
listen, anyone who critiques you is behind you on the path. There's
Yeah.
no way that someone in front of you on the path is going to critique you. Anyone in
Never.
front of you on the path is going to be pulling you forward as fast as they can because it's awesome.
Say
And
it
so I
again.
think
So true.
that truth there, right? There's like a
Yeah.
little grain of truth that we all go,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that.
Mhm.
I know that's real because I've watched myself do it or I've seen other people do it to other people. And so I think one of the other keys to business, I so appreciate what you said about brick by brick, like I said, but I think the other key to business success is truly recognizing our shared humanity.
Mhm.
None of us are getting out of here without some scars and some wounds and some scrapes and the you're not worthies when you were 3, like whatever it was.
Yeah.
And to be honest about all the mistakes. We'd
Yeah.
need 5 other podcast episodes to
Me
talk about
too.
all the
Oh,
mistakes I've made, right?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is like it has not been pretty. It is not.
Mm.
And there sleepless nights, the sweat, the blood, and the tears, and literally the blood. Like my back went out on me. I had back surgery because of stuff I was
Oof.
doing in my business.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Like
Oh my god, you
so
literally she broke her back, people.
they
She
really
broke her
literally
back.
broke
Yeah.
my back. I
Dang,
did.
that's some commitment
Yes.
to
A
work.
decade
Woo!
ago. A decade ago, I had a broken back.
Wow. Wow. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's not all pretty, but it's worth it because life is a struggle, like it,
Mm.
no matter what. So, if you just decide to wake up every day and be a problem solver, because like they're gonna come and embrace it. And again, I love things I come across. They're never my own. I'm not unique enough or innovative enough to come up with these things. But I heard someone say about, you have to treat yourself like water with rocks. Like the water doesn't fight against the rock. It just keeps flowing. It goes around. It just goes over and under. Like, so you have to kind of look at it that way because everyone's going to face those challenges. And God bless you if you live a charmed life, but the challenges come, and it's how you keep handling them. And work is hard, so choose your hard, as they say, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you can end up in the job that you hate and it's safe, or you can take a chance on yourself and make mistakes and get in a bit of trouble. But the exhilaration and the enjoyment and the things you'll learn and the people you talk to, I really do believe it's worth it.
Yeah.
So you just don't know till you try, but everyone says that. It's the truth.
But we all know it's true too, right? You can
Yeah.
describe how to ride a bicycle. Not
Hmm.
gonna, it doesn't, it is just not helpful. You're either going to
Yeah.
learn how to do it or you're not. And the only way to do it is to try. There's
Yeah,
no
you were talking about
other way
something
around it.
earlier there about like, analysis is paralysis, right? And so if
Can
people
be.
just get stuck in that, like,
Mhm.
I'm going to, or I will, or I'm going to have one more conversation with this person, or I think I'm going to talk, or I think maybe next year, like,
It's all procrastination.
yeah, just gets further
I
away.
Whoever is listening and is going through that, I love you. But it is all procrastination. Okay. It just is. The only way you're going to make progress is to do the thing.
Yeah.
There's no other way around that. I love that.
No.
Okay. So, Kate, so tell us a little bit about, I know you have a special gift for everybody listening as well, but I want to understand a little bit more about what you're doing in the world of health right now. So tell us about what you're
Yeah.
actually doing to help all of us stay as healthy as
Right.
possible.
Well, I mean, just basically from those early days of starting my account base to launch the omega-3 fish oil, everything grew from there. And my distribution company grew from there. I got into warehousing and logistics and importing and product development and label development and regulation. And I mean, all of that stuff. And I'm right across Canada. And we also now have a business that we've launched in the US. And I've made lots of US friends over the last couple of years. And yeah, it's been amazing. So doing my nationwide business of selling natural health products into stores,
Mm,
which is my main business, has exposed me to like all the products that exist in the natural health
that
world,
makes
right?
sense. Yeah.
And one product that I have been working with for like over 15 years, and it's remarkable. I've now launched in the US. It's available on Amazon and our Shopify site, is a product called Benecin, Benecin, benecinDefense.com. And what brought me to that was I started to learn about the lack of development and research in antibiotics. And because antibiotic development actually does not have a very high return in its investment. So there's really not that much research going on or going into the development of more antibiotics. And we have since the 80s had a decline in the effectiveness of antibiotics.
Mhm.
Often you may hear sometimes people have an infection and it won't seem to clear up. So I was really fascinated by some material I came across that is derived from garlic. And so garlic is actually a fascinating plant. If you look up the history of garlic, you'll see that until the advent of antibiotics, garlic was actually a majorly used plant to fight infection. And so even back to the days of the pyramid builders, they were using it for scorpion bites and keeping them, free from infection. The Romans, the Greek athletes, they would use it to build endurance and stamina. And garlic was also, used in the world wars to treat open wounds. It was documented by Louis Pasteur to kill bacteria. So, it was a natural pesticide. Before the advent of modern day pesticides, it was planted in and amongst root vegetables to prevent pests from attacking the vegetables, right? So,
Amazing.
yeah, it is. So it's this amazing thing, right? And so the part in garlic that does all this is something called allicin, not like the girl's name, Allison. It's allicin, Allicin. It's a very unstable compound that is difficult to capture. So that's sort of like the whole scientific part of it. But our company has been able to, the company I'm working with, what they've been able to is actually capture this ingredient, allicin, which has been shown in the lab to kill really like serious bugs like staph and strep, salmonella, E. coli, Bacter which was another infection that sometimes the troops were picking up when they were in Iraq. Like there was these nasty bacterial infections. And so they've been able to test this powder against these bacteria and found that they are very, very active in killing the bacteria. So what we have done is that we have put it into basically an everyday 1 a day capsule, which is just good for your immune system. It's something that like I would never leave home without if I'm traveling because
Really?
bacteria changes. Yes, bacteria changes
Okay.
everywhere you go. And there's a lot of research. I mean, it's a ton of research. We have a new PhD working with us, Dr. JJ, who is also now going out to talk about this product and inform people so they can know about it. But one of the interesting studies that came out of it was for the common cold, which is actually really impacts our economy from people being off work,
Mhm.
sick, and so on. So, the amount of people I've talked to, like, is I don't want to get sick again this winter, or I don't want my kids coming home sick again. So, we don't have to talk about the serious things. We just want to prevent common cold.
Yeah.
Garlic is your best friend.
It's
And
amazing.
taking something like Benecin relieves you of having to eat garlic, smell like garlic, it burns, that type of thing. You can just pop your Benecin and, if you're traveling, you're flying, you're shaking hands, you're meeting people, like all this stuff. So for me, it's like I love this product. I've seen the benefit it's had on people. We've been shipping it down to a school in Haiti for years and they use
Mm.
it with their students to prevent cholera and a whole bunch of nasty bugs. So, you know, just if people are thinking about when they're traveling or they want to stay healthy and well or they're fighting an infection, Benecin is a great option to consider. And and we want to offer that to everybody that might be listening and might be interested.
That is
Yay.
amazing. You guys, we're going to
Yeah.
have a link to that along with our awesome coupon
Yay.
code. So
Yay.
good.
Yeah.
But Kate, that's so interesting. And I want to use the word moved. I am so moved by all of the humans on this planet who are taking the time and energy and their own personal resources to figure out how we can use nature, which, hi, that's where everything comes from anyway, including us,
That's
right?
right.
How we can
Yeah.
use nature to really help ourselves and help our bodies perform
Mhm.
at their peak, right? I mean, here we are, these organic creatures, and you and I are
Yes.
staring at boxes and we're in a house, like it's windy outside. I don't feel anything, right? Like we're totally out of touch with nature, right? All these things. So I'm just always so moved when people are like, hold on a second, back this truck up. Let's go back to nature. Let's look at what the earth actually provided for us to thrive and see what we're missing in what's already here. And I'm really excited by that. And I'm so
Yeah.
grateful you let us know about it today. I really appreciate
I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here just to talk to you and to talk to anyone that might be interested in this type of thing. And, and I really just feel so strongly about, your body is the only thing in life that you will truly ever own. Like,
it. Mm.
we can lose everything overnight. Like we can lose our house, we can lose our business, we can lose so many things that we strike as like the most important thing, but really like the body is the only thing you will ever truly own. And so it's the hardest thing, but it should be the easiest thing to love and look after. Like, it should make the most sense to us that we wanna put the right things in it and that we wanna move it the right way and that we want to I just think that we've completely forgotten that.
Yeah.
And we want the easy route, and we don't realize that looking after ourselves can become easy if we take the hard steps, which is changing the things that you're putting in your body and how you speak to your body and your mind and the people you put around yourself and all these layers,
Yeah.
instead of accepting that maybe where you're at is where you're going to stay. Like, never, 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 never. Always keep striving for more. And
I
it's not
love
like
it.
when we were talking earlier, that burnout of striving for more in your business. No, striving for more for yourself. Like, I will never give up. Like, I want to,
Mm,
I'm 50 now and I want to be a better yogi than I ever was before,
I
and I'm
love it.
going skiing this weekend. I want to be a better skier. Like, I want to, and age is a factor and you can't escape the realities of that too. But, as the old ladies in the gym say to me, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And motion is lotion.
That is so great. Also, aging beats the hell out of the alternative. Yeah. Like
Exactly.
I'm so happy to be able to age. Like it's what a joy. And with
Yes.
all of the support that we have now, it's just
Hmm.
so different. And I'm so grateful for that. And again, it's because of work like this where people are really
Yeah,
going, hold on, what are we actually doing? What are we actually putting in our human capsules?
that's
All
it.
right. Well, listen, Kate, if someone's listening and they want a little bit more of you in their lives, where can people find you online? Where do you like to hang out?
I'm usually on Instagram. So, and I'm katemcguire.ca. The .ca is the Canadian part. So
Yeah,
Kate
girl.
McGuire, yeah, Kate and McGuire, the regular old Irish way, Maguire.
Wonderful. Kate, thank you so much, you guys. We're going to have
Oh,
those links both to all of the supplements that she talked about, but also her Instagram account and her website. Kate, thank you so much for spending time with the girlfriends today.
thank you for having me, Sarah. Take care.